All right, guys, we're here again for Pastor's Corner. Nice name, Chris, calling it Pastor's Corner because we're literally pastors in a corner in the room. But we're trying to have conversations week to week to try to edify the church in some way and kind of let the church into some of the conversations that we've been having. One conversation that we've been having are around what our guiding principles are about regathering. Lots of noise, lots of voices, lots of opinions kind of coming around that different people have. So what is it that's guiding us as we think about the principles around regathering?
I think the two main principles that have been guiding us through this entire time are, one, that we want to, in the best of our ability, to honor the government authorities that are over us. And at this point, we don't feel that they are singling us out in any way. So we want to honor the governing authorities over us, and we want to love people well, love our neighbors, and love one another well in the midst of this. And the tension is navigating the distinction between the principle and the application of the principle. It's just very complex and difficult times. And so looking to apply the principles in this environment is where really the struggle and the tensions occur. And as I was thinking through this, a verse that came to mind to me recently is out of 2 Corinthians chapter 2, where the Apostle Paul writes, "For we are to God the fragrance of Christ among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing. To the one we are the aroma of death leading to death, and to the other the aroma of life leading to life. And who is sufficient for these things?" And so as I think about navigating that tension between what our principles are and applying it to the world, particularly loving people well, it's the gospel that needs to be the clear message out there. In anything that we do practically, we need to be letting the community know we love you and we are all about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's what I want people to see this church as being all about as we navigate the road back to regathering.
Yeah, I like how you said that, because the guiding principle is love, which is manifest for us in the gospel, right? And so if there's anything that's going to be a stench, or let it be the gospel itself, the message of Christ and Him crucified, that people find offense about, not in our demonstration or living that out. And so in that way, the gospel itself becomes our guiding principle, and that's true for all of our decisions in life. Is what does the gospel and the lordship of Jesus say and bring to bear in these sorts of things? I think another question that often we ask is what's wise, right? If wisdom is the ability to skillfully navigate life's complexities, we have that going on now. So maybe Christian, speak to the wisdom piece in this.
Sure. Yeah, I think that there's a couple components of making wise decisions. And one of them is not rushing into a decision. Many people, I think, would have the opinion that we need to be gathering sooner, and many people have the opinion that we should be gathering later. And you don't want to be swayed by these things. You don't want to rush into things and make hasty decisions. I've noticed I've never really regretted going slowly on making a decision, but many times I have regretted going too quickly. So I think wise decision making is considering all the relevant factors, praying and seeking the Lord, because He is Lord of this church. He will guide us. He will lead us into the truth. And I think another principle of wise decision making is we're not making these decisions alone. None of us has the authority to go off and just make a decision, but we're a family in Christ, we're a body in Christ, we're united together. And so there's collective wisdom as the whole, that we're making decisions as a team of pastors, as a team of elders and leaders in the church, but also, the church body of LBC as a whole has been given the spirit of wisdom as well. And so we're in this together. One of us shouldn't just go off and think that they can make decisions by themselves, because that usually leads to error.
Right. Yeah, so when we think about things like regathering, we think about how our decision to do that affects all people, right? So we're asking questions like, is it loving? Is it loving for our community to be in a confined space, where we can spread the virus easily, right? Singing is one of the worst things that we can do. So is it loving? Is it wise for our church family to do that? Probably the driving force for us, right? And then we're asking questions like, is what we're doing loving for the community, and is it honoring, and respectful to the governing authorities, as long as, we're not continuing to be singled out uniquely or persecuted, which we simply don't feel is the case for us as a church right now. And so those are the sorts of things, I guess, that we think about when we think about this question of regathering. Is it honoring to the governing authorities? Is it loving, right, to the church family and to the community? Is it wise for us to do this when we consider the complexity of factors? And is it becoming of the gospel of Jesus, right? Is this, when we say we're all about the gospel, and the gospel transforms us, is the things that we're doing, the decisions we're making, becoming of the gospel of Christ? And so, great conversation, guys. I appreciate it. Continue to ask the church to be praying for us as we think through these complicated decisions.